Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bureau. New tonight, a Meriden man has been arrested and charged with animal cruelty after being accused of brutally killing a neighbor's cat.
Fox 61's Matt Karen is in Meriden with the disturbing details obtained from the arrest warrant.
18-year-old Carmelo Roberts is facing a felony charge. He was just arraigned here in Meriden Superior Court on Thursday. And today we went back to the apartment where this all allegedly took place. And we want to warn you, some viewers may find the details of this story disturbing. This is the yard on Springdale Avenue in Meriden where police say Noodles met a malicious end.
I mean, this is disgusting.
A water bowl still sits undisturbed near what appears to be a cat bed, not far from the apparent blood stains that still smear the siding.
I was horrified at the brutal violence of, the description of what happened.
Fox 61 knocked on the door of both the cat owner and alleged killer. No one answered, but the newly obtained court documents speak for themselves, describing how Carmelo Roberts allegedly whacked the cat with a big knife, punched the cat with brass knuckles, and smashed the cat's head with a bowling ball, texting his friends the eyes popped out and that he enjoyed it.
Animals deserve to live, and they need to be treated with respect like any other human being.
We found Carolina Suskell walking her best friend, Benny.
Truly, I can never believe ever harming him or anybody harming him. I would protect him at all costs.
Police say Noodles, the 8-month-old gray tiger domestic shorthair, lived in apartment C, while the alleged cat killer lived just feet away in B. The deadly encounter happening around February 25th, when Noodles escaped the safety of his apartment. His remains discovered just over the fence.
The fact that it was admitted to that this person actually did it and enjoyed it. And I mean, it's simply horrifying.
The warrant going on to detail how police encountered Roberts' grandmother, who said she would not be surprised if Roberts committed this act. The killing of Noodles is the 5th known violent pet death in Connecticut so far this year. The animal advocates at Desmond's Army tell me that oftentimes violence on an animal is a precursor to human-on-human violence. They plan to be at Roberts' next court appearance on June 28th. Reporting in Meriden, Matt Karen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Matt, thank you. We have an update now out of South Windsor, where police have made an arrest in connection to an abandoned dog found with its collar tied to a tree. Janiyah Branford is accused of leaving the dog, known as Kobe, at the Frank Niederwerfer Wildlife Sanctuary last month. Branford turned herself in to police yesterday and was released on $5,000 bond. She is due in court next month.
In Southbury now, police are searching for the person who tied up and abandoned a German Shepherd at a horse farm. The dog was found this morning at Willow Creek Horse Farm on North Georges Hill Road. According to police, the person who left the dog was driving an early to mid-2000 Chevy Tahoe. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Turning now to Bloomfield, where a school was briefly placed on lockdown and evacuated this morning, all due to a bomb threat. Police say the threat was found in a bathroom at the Global Experience Magnet School. No devices were found, and students and staff were able to continue with the school day. The incident is now under investigation.
All right, turning to the weather now, and we're not looking at a bad weekend weather-wise. We're just not looking at a great weekend weather-wise. Right?
Finally, though, we see that sun after all that rain. Some improvement, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank. How's it looking this weekend?
Not as much sun as we had out there earlier today. Unfortunately, the clouds have come in, and it looks like those will be sticking around for much of the weekend. Right now, we're looking at temperatures in the mid-70s. That early sun today really helping those temperatures soar, and near 70 for the New Haven area where it is looking rather gloomy at the moment. Upper 60s for the Connecticut shoreline. Here's a look at the satellite and radar. Even though it kind of has that vibe, is it going to rain at any second? It will not tonight. So if you want to do anything outside, like do some grilling, enjoy some of those milder temperatures, take the dog for a longer walk, you're good to go with any of those choices. But you'll notice some showers coming in off the ocean here for Cape Cod. So we've got some moisture to the east. We've got a slow approaching cold front from the west. So we've got this kind of squeeze play as we head into the upcoming weekend. So for the outdoor dining forecast, it's looking good as we head through this evening. Temperatures will be near 60 at the shoreline, near 70 degrees inland, maybe if you're sitting down for dinner in the next hour or so. And we'll see overnight lows dipping back into the 50s as we head towards daybreak. Tomorrow, we're looking at overcast skies, the chance for a spotty shower or two, and high temperatures that will be in the 60s. I do think most of the day is dry, but again, we can't rule out a light spotty shower. Sunday's dry, but still mostly cloudy before next week's warm-up. It's impressive. Your full forecast coming up.
Rachel, thank you. We have a heads up for Eversource customers. Your monthly bill might go up a bit in the coming months. If approved by Pura, most customers can expect an increase of about $8 per month beginning July 1st and lasting through the end of the year. Now, Eversource says you'll see this on the public benefits portion of the bill. If you need help paying your bill, the company says there are several payment plans and assistance programs available.
Today is the 70th anniversary of the landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling which outlawed racial segregation in public schools.
Brown v. Board of Education was the unanimous decision back in 1954, which ruled separating children in public schools on the basis of race was unconstitutional. This marked the end of the separate but equal precedent set by the High Court nearly 60 years earlier. But how do things now look in Connecticut in 2024? Well, Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst dug into that question today, and she joins us now live outside the state Supreme Court building in Hartford. So, Emma, what did you find?
Well, Brent, Bridget, it turns out that the impact of this historic decision is still really up for debate 70 years later. While in recent decades, data shows U.S. schools have become much more diverse by some measures, they've also become much more segregated.
The decision in Brown represented a promise that this would be a nation where students of all races and backgrounds could learn together in the same classrooms and the same schools.
But 70 years later, many say the U.S. still hasn't made good on that promise.
Our schools are segregated because our communities are segregated. Our social circles are segregated.
A new report from UCLA's Civil Rights Project found the proportion of schools that were intensely segregated, meaning a population of 0 to 10% white students, nearly tripled over the last 30 years, rising from 7.4 to nearly 20%.
We are not given access to the same amount of resources, to the same quality of education. And if we don't have that, how are we supposed to be successful?
According to data from the School and State Finance Project, a nonpartisan, nonprofit policy organization, Connecticut's student population is roughly 50% white and 50% Black, Indigenous, people of color, or BIPOC. But they say the state's school districts do not represent this.
While there certainly has been progress since Brown v. Board, we are still a very highly segregated state, both in terms of race and then also in terms of economics.
Morton says most students attend either a district where more than 75% of the students are white or a district where more than 75% of the students are BIPOC. More than half of all Black students attend a district where the white student population is less than 25% of the district's total enrollment. And a majority of Connecticut's BIPOC students are concentrated in fewer than 15 districts, with more than 45% of BIPOC students attending a local public school district where the total student population is more than 75% BIPOC.
districts that are serving primarily white students are spending $674 million more than anybody else combined. What that translates to is basically $2,500 per student.
Morton says Connecticut is making changes this past legislative session, expanding a new need-based funding model. But he says there is still much more work to be done.
Just because they're not in your neighborhood or next door doesn't mean that we should forget about the problems and the challenges that continue to impact thousands and thousands and thousands of students in the state every single day, not just on a day that we recognize a landmark Supreme Court decision.
And on a federal level, Connecticut's U.S. Senator Chris Murphy releasing a statement earlier today saying in part, quote, "We have to do more to make the promise of Brown v. Board of Education a reality." He is pushing for two pieces of legislation he's introduced in Congress, the Strength and Diversity Act and the Magnet Act. He says these two measures could help to increase diversity in schools. Reporting live in Hartford outside the state Supreme Court building, Emma Wolforst, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
A very eye-opening report. Emma, thank you for bringing it to us. And about an hour from now, a vigil will be held for the woman and child found dead after a fire in Wallingford. The bodies of 19-year-old Charisma Johnson and 9-month-old Kylan Vernado were found at a home that you're looking at right here on Geneva Avenue last month. Officials say they were dead before the fire ever started. A third victim, 24-year-old Justin Vernado, died at the hospital. Police say Vernado had been arrested in late March on domestic violence charges.
In New Britain, the Iwo Jima Memorial Foundation has asked the public to help them with their newest project. It's a way to raise awareness and a way to raise funds. They are honoring our veterans with their first ever field of flags. With more from the memorial site, here's Fox 61's Jim Altman.
And ahead of Memorial Day in New Britain, this is a chance to send a message. It is a simple gesture, making a powerful statement.
I think it's beautiful.
A field of green.
God, what a display.
Now giving way to red, white, and blue.
This is absolutely beautiful, and it's such a beautiful memorial to do this at.
On the grounds of the Iwo Jima Memorial in New Britain.
Every one of these flags is for a person.
A new initiative.
I get emotional because I love the flag.
8 by 10 with a 2-foot stem.
They stand for freedom.
American flags, 500 of them, are changing the landscape here.
My heart is so full.
Each flag is sponsored and stands for someone special. Ahead of Memorial Day, many of them honor our hometown heroes.
It's a really memorable moment for everybody here today.
Row after row, the freshman class from Vinyl Tech in Middletown have put their plan in place.
The reason we're here is to expose the kids to, a lot of the different things that the veterans done and what it means to them and what it means to us now.
8 decades ago, Marine veteran Stu Leahy landed on Iwo Jima. Now 97, he wasn't missing this day.
It just brings back memories, some good, some bad. I'm glad I was there.
Here, honor starts from the ground up.
So we have one more W.
And now, just the faint sounds from the wind speak louder.
It really is just to show, that they're still loved and they're still here with us.
Patriotism is alive here today.
In New Britain, Jim Altman, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.